This is group number three's presentation of Shakespeare's play Hamlet. And our purpose of this presentation is to share background information, explain the story levels present within the text, look at the themes of the story, and then we can ultimately decide, was Hamlet a hero? To understand Hamlet, it's important to know some of the background information. Some of the key details are that the play was written by William Shakespeare around 1600, 1601, and it was published in 1603. And I believe it came out to the public more so in 1604. The play is a tragedy. And the setting, it takes place in Denmark, and it's around the royal palace, which is in Elsinore, and that's a city in Denmark. And again during the Middle Ages. The main conflict of the play is that Hamlet is having a big internal conflict of whether he should kill Claudius, which is his uncle, and his uncle actually willingly killed his father to become king. And the ghost of Hamlet's father comes down to him and explains that Claudius had betrayed him and murdered him in his sleep for the crown. And so he tells Hamlet that he has to take revenge on Claudius. And that kind of leaves Hamlet going back and forth on if the ghost should be trusted and whether or not killing him is the right thing that Hamlet should do. The rising action of the play begins when the ghost of Hamlet's father appears and tells Hamlet to take revenge on Claudius for his murder. Hamlet then spends a lot of time trying to decipher the truth of the ghost's accusations before deciding that he must seek his father's revenge. Shakespeare then inserts what's called a play within a play, named The Mousetrap. This play is seen in Act 3, and it depicts a king who falls asleep in his garden. Another man comes and pours poison into the sleeping man's ear and steals his crown. And the play was actually ironically named The Mousetrap because he intends to use it to catch a rat, which is Claudius. And following the play, Hamlet receives the opportunity to kill Claudius, but he actually delays because he won't kill him while he's praying in the chapel.
The climax in Hamlet can be seen in two different parts. Some say it was when Hamlet stabs Polonius through the arras in Act 3, Scene 4. He commits himself to outward violent action and brings himself into unavoidable conflict with the king. Another possible climax comes at the end of Act 4, Scene 4, when Hamlet resolves to commit himself fully to violent revenge. Both possible climaxes involve a burst of violence which creates a large conflict.
The falling action of the play mainly consists of Hamlet's consequences for killing Polonius. Hamlet is sent back to England to be killed. However, he figures out why he was sent back and goes to Denmark instead. He then sees Laertes at Ophelia's funeral, where he begins a planned fencing match by Claudius between him and Laertes without knowing he is using a poisonous sword. During the actual duel, Queen Gertrude takes a drink from Hamlet's cup and is poisoned. Moments later, Laertes strikes Hamlet with a contaminated sword, but not hard enough to kill him in the moment. Hamlet then finds out the sword was poisoned and hits Laertes with the sword. After the messy duel, the queen dies, and Claudius admits to poisoning the drink. Laertes falls onto the ground consecutively, asking for forgiveness and revealing the king's plan, only to die shortly after. Hamlet gives in and impales the king with the sword. Hamlet becomes the next to die and tells Horatio to stay alive so he can tell the people what had happened. Fortinbras marches and only to find everyone dead and crowns himself as the next ruler of Denmark. Throughout the play, there are many themes, but there are three that stuck out to us. The first one was madness. In the play, Hamlet shows many sides of his personality due to the death of his father, and he appears to be a sage, a philosopher, and overall just a mentally disturbed person. And throughout the play, he expresses many times that there's a method to his madness. And with this, it just shows that he is insane, crazy and mad, but he's just doing that in his pretensions to show his pain to others. The second theme we see is revenge. And revenge is not a good act in Christianity and many other faiths, but it's something that runs constant throughout the play. The appearance of a ghost in the first act lays a heavy responsibility on Hamlet to exact the revenge of his quote-unquote unjust murder. Hamlet then needs to establish his responsibility of the crime on Claudius first, and then he needs to decide if he wants to seek justice or not. And with his conscious mind, the revenge is delayed. He then succeeds in exposing the crime. Hamlet does not want to find a way to try Claudius into the court. The third theme we see is subversion of relationships. Gertrude is a cousin of Claudius in the play and must not marry him on legal or religious terms. But both of them marry, subverting their relationship. Claudius is Hamlet's uncle, who soon becomes his stepfather.
Okay, so this is the question of whether or not Hamlet was a hero. Some readers consider Hamlet a hero because they claim his intentions were mostly from a good place. He was really just a son trying to do good by his father and take the revenge that he requested. Also, he didn't really intend to kill Polonius. He really thought it was Claudius behind the curtain, which is why he says, "Sir, I mistook you for your better." But also, Hamlet can be described as a villain for a number of other reasons. His personality was really made up of self-centered, manipulative, and malignant traits. And in the beginning of the play, he could be described honorable, but really considering the amount of deaths he caused in the end, that doesn't seem very heroic. And because Hamlet is the protagonist of the play, I feel like most times we think the protagonist in a story to be the hero, but in this case, Hamlet actually made many mistakes, but it's really up to the audience to decide what they think. And here are our citations, and we're excited. Thank you for watching.